Hello, here we are again. It's a really nice rainy day today here in Austin, so it feels so good compared to the heat. But I'm here today because I had a request with one of the commenters who wanted to know if I would show golfer's elbow. And so I thought I would do a little short video with golfer's elbow to just show you what I would do. It's an injury, it's a repetitive injury. It also will work for people that work keyboards quite a bit, or if they're bowlers, and even tennis elbow. There's a little bit of differences between where the pain might come out with some of that, but basically you can work the same muscles because it is a forearm problem and a wrist problem. So strength in that area is really important. But you know me, I like to look for the alignment of the elbow as well, because that's a hinge joint, and there's a couple other things that come in there, the radius and ulnar, as well as the humerus, so you want to make sure that that joint is well aligned. So today I have Suzanne here. She's going to give me her arm to use for this video, and I really appreciate her being here. I want to start out by showing you just this little skeleton, just the arm here, so you get an idea. This is not a real super duper guy, but here's the ulnar on the little finger side, and then here's the radius. And as you can see, when the hand is flipping like this, you'll see what happens. The radius goes underneath the bone, and then you can, it doesn't articulate the other way, but you can't really do that anyways because the ulnar isn't going to move quite like the radius. So when you flip it this way, it's going to look kind of like this. The two joints stay up there, but there are muscles in between here, tendons and all that. So where the problem is right in here at the condyle, this bump right here. That's where the pain is going to be. And so I'm going to show you on a real arm, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what all we need to do. And then of course there's a lot of little joints in here that are not articulating at all, but the wrist is also involved. So the alignment of the wrist with the ulnar and radius, where it comes into the wrist, is also an important place to check. I'm going to gently pick up the arm, and of course I place my hand so there's a lot of support, and then put the support under at the elbow, and then just lift the elbow up a little bit. And I'm going to put my knee up here to just kind of give her upper arm a place to rest, because it's a little easier to work this way. Now the pain on this stuff comes right about here. There's several different muscles that are attaching into this area. And so one of the things that we want to do is we want to keep, this is all forearm, and there's a lot of muscles there, and then also the forearm on this side of the arm as well. And these are the muscles that are going to give the problem to a lot of that repetitive motion stuff. It happens down because of the hands being gripped a lot, or twisted, or just the action with the shoulder. So there's other ways that this can, kind of become a problem area. But primarily it's the forearm. Okay, so to start out is we want to warm up a little bit the wrist, actually, by just moving it back and forth to get these muscles warmed up. Of course, rest and all that is good for it, but there's an inflammatory condition with this. It's inflaming around the muscles and the tendons. It could probably also be called tendonitis. Okay, and I'm just checking the elbow here a little bit. And then I'm going to check the elbow by the alignment of it by putting two fingers on either side of where the ulnar is coming in right here, and there's little dents there. But you don't want to push in too hard, because one of those, on one side of that, on the lateral side, there's a nerve, and that's called the funny bone, so you don't want to push into that real heavy. And I'm just going to check here between the elbow and the wrist as to how things are aligned, and I'm going to do a slight traction with the wrist. So I'm holding it, and I'm just going to see if there's any little movement going on. Suzanne works the keyboard quite a bit, so this can also become a problem. I did feel a little shift in the elbow joint there, as I rotated it. So there was a little bit of a correction going on. A lot of this is so small, but I'll tell you, it doesn't really matter. It's like if the front side of the automobile is a little bit out of alignment, you are going to have a problem with the tires, even though it might just be a small bit. And here I'm checking. Again, I'm feeling with my hand here if there's something that's not easy when I'm rotating that. Okay, now I'm going to go down and make sure that the wrist and the hands are in alignment, the wrist and the hand a little bit, and make sure. So my hands are spread here underneath, holding this part of her hand, giving a little spread as my fingers are in those little notches right by the wrist. This is the radius and ulnar coming into the wrist. And so I'm gonna stretch the hand out a little bit as I give a little traction, pulling this way. So here's the traction pull. And then I'm just gonna see if anything wants to shift or unwind. And I am feeling some activity. I'm waiting for more shifting and unwinding. And I am feeling something going on right in that little notch. I'm thinking that she does a lot of keyboard stuff, so I'm sure that those little muscles are like probably exhausted by the time she finishes. Yeah, and these little movements that you're seeing, that's her moving me around. I'm just following all of that. I'm going to give a little bit more traction here, just to see. Okay, now I'm going to reposition my hand with both fingers, fingers locked under in those little notches. And then I'm going to take the other hand to those two notches in the elbow, and I'm going to check a traction here as well. And it's just tractioning the fascial structure that's sort of right under the skin. There was another little flutter on the inside where the condyle part, where the inflammation of these elbows often happens. And there was quite a bit of correction that was happening right there. Okay, now to just get this wrist warming up the forearm again. You want to do this because you want to have the muscles kind of warm. And then I'll show you the stretches after we get all this done. Okay. So then we're going to turn over and I'm going to position her elbow with the help of my leg up here. Now this is right where it hurts. Sometimes you can't straighten the arm very much with this, so you can just kind of bend it and work it. But you want to, this is where the muscles are the problem, is right where the tendons are going into the bone. So you want to work the muscle in here with circular movements, but you don't want to just do that kind of thing. You want to get down there into that muscle, but you're not pushing really hard, because you want to remember there's probably inflammation going on down there, and you don't want to irritate that anymore. So just taking it around that area, keeping it nice and loose. Yeah, and you can work it down into the forearm a little bit more. This feels kind of tight through here. And just get in. This is about the kind of massage I do anymore, is just bits and pieces instead of full bodies. Now there's some tightness right here along these. There's several little muscles that come through here and attach in this area even a little bit higher. You can check an anatomy book and kind of land your way around. Now it's really tight through here, so this would eventually give her some problems with the elbow. Okay, so you get that all soft, and then you can check by bending. Now there's some stretches. Oh, the elbow just made a little crack, so not a painful crack. Oh, it's doing it again. So that something is Okay, there it's gone. I just tried it with the different position of the radius by twisting the arm around, and that took that out. It's not there anymore. The little plug. I think it was working its way back into the right position. Now the thing you can do here is there's some exercises that you can do to stretch this and the forearm, which is a really good idea to do. You can do this on your own. And what you're going to do is straighten the arm as much as possible. You can work with your arm bent if it's real painful to have it straight. But what you want to do is you want to pull and you want to stretch these muscles and then stretch those muscles. So you're stretching and flexing, extending and flexing. So you can pull this back. Now if you're doing it by yourself, you can just do it like so. But if you want to take it into a deeper stretch, then you can take your other hand and pull the hand back and then let the elbows straighten as much as you can. And I can kind of tell where it's a little bit tense. That all happens because of the repetitive motion that Suzanne is doing. She's on the keyboard a lot. So if you're golfing or you're gripping or you're bowling, or you're playing tennis, you're doing the same type of thing. It's repetitive. And then you'll take the wrist down and do the same thing. So you're stretching it down and stretching it up and pull back, and then down, and twist this over. And then you can also take it this direction to stretch back. And you can do this if you're leaning your elbow on a table with your hand over. You can have like a soup can in it to bring extra strength to those muscles if they're weak. And then you just want to get into the rest of the muscles and make sure that they're nice and smooth. She's not in bad shape at all, really, because Suzanne does take good care of herself and pays attention to what her body needs. So the muscles aren't overly full of lactic acid. They're fairly smooth. There's a little bit of issue going on in some of this area, but overall it's not a real bad situation. There, and then on the other side, you can, where that condyle is, you can bring the work down, and you can also, but you want to be careful on this side of the arm because there's more, it's closer to nerves and veins. And here we just kind of stretching these muscles here and across. Just, these are little, it's like stripping the muscle, and it's real good because it smooths it out. And these are longer muscles. They're not super long, but they are long from point to point. Okay. And that's about what you can do for the tennis or golf elbow. You want to be careful, and if you do, there's a little kind of if you feel like you need to hold a brace or something on your arm when you're playing golf or whatever you're doing, if you want to put something, a band or something, right, you want to put it a little bit lower than the joint and just hold the muscle in place, just kind of right where the muscle and tendon starts coming together. So if you have a little band or something tight that you want to put on, you'd want to put it on there, and that just kind of holds that part of the muscle in and still allows for your elbow to be flexed and extended. So that's just another idea. It just depends on how much pain there is involved with all of this. And then of course when you get back out on the golf course or the tennis court or whatever, then you want to check your alignment, make sure that you're in line with the rest of your body. And also I just want to make a note too that the golfer elbow pain tends to be on the inside, tends to be on the medial side, whereas the tennis elbow and some of the baseball, that's another one, the pitchers and all that oftentimes is on the outside. But it can be either, it kind of crisscrosses, it's kind of the same kind of a problem. It's just a little bit different in where the pain pattern is. Golfers' elbows pain will usually come all the way down their arm on the inside. So, that's how you can distinguish it. But to tell you the truth, it's all really like tendonitis. It's just inflammation around the joint. The tendons are inflamed. So I don't always worry about what things are called, but I know there's a lot of titles and names for things.
I do a lot of keyboard work because I play piano, and then also so much of just my regular work is on a computer keyboard. So coming into my session today with Athena, I could feel just pain in this part and going all the way up my arm, and the subtlety of the work is profound. So it surprised me actually, just by her holding and allowing my body to do what it did, that really helped. I guess loosen things, and then the gentle circular motions, I definitely felt that helping to release that pain right in that spot by the elbow. So by the time she was done, it felt a lot more soothed and relaxed and spoken to. Athena does a really good job of presencing the muscles and the tissues. It was clear that she had an understanding of the bones that were underneath and the muscles and the tendons, and it was almost like she read my body and was able to then just be with it in a way that allowed it to relax, which was wonderful, rather than just pushing on it or beating it up. So many times with massage therapists, something that I think distinguishes Athena that I felt today was just her ability to drop in to the muscle with me. I could tell that she wasn't up in her head or attempting to put my body into kind of some prototype or some label of this is what the problem is and this is what needs to happen. But she really, again, she's got a solid understanding of anatomy, but then she really sinks into being present with my body and what it's doing in that moment. And in doing so, I think that is part of her magic, where it facilitates a release. Rather than expecting the body to behave a certain way, she just shows up with it, and then it receives what it needs. So I'm really grateful that I saw Athena today.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. And I think there's a little bell up there that you can hit that you'll get a notification every time we post. So if you want to, you can hit that too. But thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it.